1. When mentoring a new certified medical device reprocessing technician, which instructional strategy best aligns with adult learning principles? A. Delivering long lectures without interaction. Allowing self-directed practice with guided reflection. C. Providing only written manuals without demonstrations. D. Relying solely on peer observation without feedback. 2. In curriculum development for training reprocessing staff, which element ensures alignment with regulatory compliance requirements? A. Prioritizing staff preferences over accreditation standards. B. Incorporating only local facility policies. C. Embedding national and international sterilization guidelines. D. Eliminating regulatory references to focus on skills. 3. A key method for evaluating a technician's competency in device reprocessing is A. Reviewing their attendance records. B. Conducting direct observation with performance checklists. C. Asking them to complete an anonymous survey. D. Discussing hypothetical scenarios without demonstration. 4. When communicating critical updates about new sterilization standards, the most effective method is A. Sending one mass email without clarification. B. Conducting an interactive workshop with case studies. C. Posting guidelines on a bulletin board only. D. Waiting for staff to research independently. 5. Which evaluation method best measures a technician's ability to troubleshoot sterilization failures? A. Written multiple-choice quiz only. B. Simulation-based practical assessment. C. Attendance at department meetings. D. Peer-to-peer verbal discussion. 6. To comply with infection prevention regulations, training content for reprocessing technicians must A. Focus only on departmental efficiency goals. B. Reflect evidence-based sterilization standards. C. Ignore global best practices. D. Emphasize shortcuts for faster processing. 7. Which mentoring approach supports professional growth and long-term retention? A. Correcting mistakes publicly without context. B. Providing consistent, constructive feedback privately. C. Ignoring errors to promote independence. D. Limiting mentorship to initial orientation only. 8. When designing a learning module on decontamination practices, the principle of curriculum sequencing suggests A. Starting with advanced sterilization cycles before basics. B. Beginning with foundational cleaning concepts before complex tasks. C. Presenting random tasks without order. D. Allowing learners to select topics in any sequence. 9. A regulatory audit identifies gaps in staff training. As an educator, the first step is to A. Discipline staff immediately. B. Update the training curriculum to address compliance requirements. C. Reduce the frequency of training sessions. D. Focus training on unrelated administrative skills. 10. Which communication strategy is most effective for resolving conflicts among reprocessing team members? A. Avoiding the issue to maintain harmony. B. Using assertive communication to clarify concerns and solutions. C. Assigning blame to one technician. D. Sending a generic memo without dialogue. 11. In adult learning, the role of the instructor is best described as A. A dictator of information. B. A facilitator guiding self-directed learning. C. A passive observer. D. A strict disciplinarian. 12. When evaluating a technician's ability to apply new sterilization protocols, the most valid tool is A. Written test only. B. Skills demonstration under supervision. C. Staff satisfaction survey. D. Annual self-assessment form. 13. A new hire is struggling with complex sterilization documentation. The mentor should A. Reprimand them immediately. B. Break down the process into smaller, manageable tasks. C. Ignore the issue to avoid discouragement. D. Assign them unrelated tasks. 14. The principle of alignment in curriculum development requires that A. Learning objectives match instructional methods and assessments. B. Content is presented without measurable goals. C. Evaluations are unrelated to course outcomes. D. Training focuses only on policies, not skills. 15. A valid performance evaluation tool for reprocessing staff must A. Be based on regulatory standards and job competencies. B. Focus on subjective opinions. C. Avoid referencing compliance benchmarks. D. Assess unrelated personal skills. 16. To maintain compliance with occupational safety standards, training should include A. Sharp safety, ergonomics, and chemical handling protocols. B. Only the facility's dress code policies. C. Historical information without current updates. D. Informal peer-to-peer storytelling. 17. Effective mentoring involves A. Modeling best practices and encouraging reflection. B. Providing minimal guidance to promote autonomy. C. Criticizing mistakes without offering solutions. D. Delegating only repetitive tasks. 18. When planning a workshop on steam sterilization cycles, an effective adult learning method would be A. Passive slide presentations only. B. Hands-on demonstrations with immediate feedback. C. Memorization drills without practice. D. Silent reading sessions. 19. Which evaluation strategy ensures fairness and reliability? A. Using standardized checklists and rubrics. B. Relying solely on verbal impressions. C. Allowing each trainer to use personal methods. D. Avoiding documentation of assessments. 20. To enhance communication with multidisciplinary teams, a reprocessing educator should A. Use jargon specific to reprocessing only. B. Translate technical information into clear, accessible language. C. Avoid interdisciplinary discussions. D. Focus only on written communication. 21. During a regulatory inspection, a staff member demonstrates incorrect use of chemical disinfectants. The educator's role is to A. Correct the staff member privately and provide immediate retraining. B. Ignore the issue during the inspection. C. Document only the staff's mistake without follow-up. D. Remove the staff member permanently. 22. Which principle of adult learning is most relevant when teaching experienced technicians? A. They learn best through repetitive memorization. They value learning that is problem-centered and applicable. They require complete dependency on instructors. They should avoid contributing personal experiences. 23. In developing assessments for reprocessing training, validity ensures A. The test measures the intended skills and knowledge. B. Results vary unpredictably. C. Scores reflect personal opinions of trainers. D. The test avoids measuring essential competencies. 24. A mentoring program that fosters professional development should include A. Regular check-ins, feedback, and goal setting. E. Sporadic informal chats without structure. C. Assignments unrelated to skill building. D. One-time orientation without follow-up. 25. When assessing curriculum effectiveness, which evaluation model is most comprehensive? A. Kirkpatrick's 4 levels of evaluation. B. Informal staff satisfaction discussion only. C. Annual inspection reports. D. Attendance tracking. 26. Communication barriers in diverse teams can best be addressed by A. Promoting cultural competence and active listening. Using one dominant language exclusively. C. Discouraging questions during training. D. Ignoring staff feedback. 27. In regulatory compliance training, the educator must ensure A. Policies are linked to legal and accreditation requirements. B. Rules are generalized without citations. C. Local preferences override international standards. D. Staff develop personal interpretations of guidelines. 28. When evaluating new hires, formative assessment is best used to A. Provide ongoing feedback to improve skills. E. Finalize employment decisions immediately. C. Replace summative evaluations. D. Avoid structured learning. 29. To motivate adult learners in reprocessing, an instructor should A. Show relevance of skills to patient safety outcomes. B. Focus only on institutional profit margins. C. Provide no rationale for learning content. D. Deliver instruction without linking to real-world impact. 30. A reprocessing training curriculum that ensures regulatory readiness must A. Integrate risk management and quality control practices. E. Exclude compliance measures to reduce workload. C. Focus only on daily task routines. D. Minimize reference to standards bodies. 31. Effective feedback in mentoring should be A. Specific, timely, and constructive. B. General, delayed, and vague. C. Avoided to promote independence. D. Focused only on negative performance.